Alright, what is up YouTube? This is Pat coming at you again. I got another video. It's been a while since I did a video. I was holed up studying for a test related to my career, but I'm ready to get back into it, start recording some videos. So I don't have any fancy ideas, themes, rankings right now. I'm trying to avoid talking about new music because I want to kind of do sort of year-end music lists and things like that, so I should be putting out more videos on that, but I thought I'd just go through a collection update, let you know some of the recent things I bought online to add to my collection, and just go from there. It's a good way to kind of get in and talk about certain bands, etc. So, cheers. The beer I'm drinking is Bike Dog Cheers 12 Years. Bike Dog Breweries, this brewery out here near me in Sacramento. Pretty good stuff. Check it out. In terms of what we are listening to, this is Cannibal Corpse album Torture. One of their sort of, try to avoid that glare. It's sort of one of their middle albums, middle to late, I guess. One of the ones when they started having Eric Rutan produce. It's pretty solid. I mean, I think, like, God, I should do a video on Cannibal Corpse. Everything they do is solid. But that's what is on in the background as we go through some of this. So, okay, here's some stuff I recently picked up. A few records, releases, just want to share. Alright, the first one is this record. It is Car Bomb. Tiles Whisper Dreams is the name of the release. Let's see if I can get it without that glare. So this is, I'm pretty sure it's Relapse. Is it Relapse? We can find out in 1 second. But Car Bomb's been around for a bit. They're sort of like a, there's the vinyl you actually get with it. It's a 10-inch. So it's sort of like a 10-inch EP. It's a little shorter than their other releases. In fact, it's pretty short overall. But yeah, this is a band that's sort of like chaos, metalcore, math metal or math rock, almost kind of like in the vein of like the Dillinger Escape Plan and things like that. It's got like pretty noisy, kind of sputtering riffs, but it still feels like, you know, it's not too far removed from like metalcore or something like that. Yeah, it's very math-based, which is like time signature shit. I don't really know anything about music, but kind of the way it comes out is kind of this complicated, always throwing you off in terms of the timing. Timing's always kind of weird with this sort of stop-start tempo, especially in the drums and the guitars. But yeah, they had 4 full lengths. I think they had a demo before all their full lengths. And they probably had like a split or 2 or something like that. But it's really like there's 4 full-length albums. I have, since I got this, picked up a couple of them, and this is then the 5th release, kind of in that succession, but it's more like an EP. And it came out this year, just a couple months ago. So yeah, I mean, no complaints about it. It's really good. I'm not the biggest like Car Bomb diehard fan, so maybe somebody else could say this, but it sounds to me like their other stuff. I mean, it's just like more of the same sound, which is, you know, kind of good in a certain way, depending on your perspective. I mean, it's not like an experimental album. This is their sound. So if you haven't heard this band, it's a good one to pick up, check out, and if you like it, you can get into the older stuff. But it's pretty consistent, so I would say, like, you know, it's one to check out if you've never heard of them. Alright, so that is Car Bomb. Okay, and then I picked up 2 sort of, this is actually an interesting purchase. I picked up 2 of the sort of EPs. What do these technically go down as, EPs or? Anyways, they might be 7-inch, but they're basically EPs from Dead Congregation. The first one is Purifying Sacred Ground. Back's pretty cool too. This is actually Purifying Sacred Ground is the first, so I'll just start with this one, but I got two things from Dead Congregation. So this is like their first release ever. The vinyl's just black, but it's got this like cool crosses and shit on it with like, you know, bodies in there and stuff. I don't know if I'm quite capturing it, but it's actually pretty cool. For a black vinyl, the kind of art on the inside of it is really cool. But this is their first. Dead Congregation is a sort of modern death metal band in the style of sort of like Incantation, Autopsy based death metal, but they are almost like what I consider to be kind of a godfather of the modern sound. I mean, this is almost like proto, you know, new old school death metal. Because they were doing this. This was released in 2005. I mean, that is just so early. And then they eventually go on to have a couple albums in the kind of 2010s that I really like. Grave of the Archangels and also Promulgation of the Fall. So this is the EP before that. They kind of had those full-length releases after, and those full lengths are what I primarily listen to. I like really love this band, consider those albums like some of the best, but I never went back to check out this, which is the first EP, and I'm glad I did because it's still like pretty consistent. The production is a little off. I think the production definitely improved by the time you get to Graves of the Archangels, their full length, and some of their other releases. It's just like a tighter, and actually I think from Graves of the Archangels to Promulgation of the Fall, it's tighter, better production. It's like everything kind of just keeps ramping up in terms of like how cohesive and great it is. But you know, 2005, I can't believe their stuff sounding like this. I mean, it does sound like it's them. I mean, it's just insane. It's 20 minutes, 5 tracks, and just pure kind of straight death metal. A little bit of Cannibal Corpse in there too, but like I said, like Incantation, kind of occasionally the doomy stuff filters in with this band, and it's really cool. And I'm almost like mad at myself I haven't picked these things up until now. So I'm finally listening to this first EP by them, and I'm glad I got it. And then on the flip side of their career, I just talked about their main thing with the full lengths. They had those 2 full lengths, but then they had the EP. There was probably one other release I'm missing, either an EP or split or maybe a 7-inch or something. But then this was the last thing they did, which I hadn't still picked up, which is Sombre Doom. It is, you know, it's like 10-inch size, or no, it's a full 12-inch size. But really, what it is 2 songs. It's like a 14-song EP. One song's a little longer, I think like 9 minutes, and the other's like 5 or so. But you know, it's pretty short. It's just 2 songs, 2 tracks, and it kind of picks up on Promulgation of the Fall. And again, same style. They're very consistent. This is later, obviously, in their career. What year was this? This was, I want to say 2019, but I'll have to look it up. But this kind of caps off their career. Last thing they released, and yeah, it's just 2 tracks. They're doomier than their other stuff, so I think they were going for like, we're going to be doomier here, but all the same frenetic energy from the death metal like still pours out in this. It's just a great release, and it's like I was talking about too, like they kind of got better from how tight they sounded, how cohesive they were, the production, all that better and better and better ever since the first release, and this is no exception. I mean, it sounds great, production's great, and yeah, just a cool vinyl I was able to get. So now I think I have all their stuff except for that release I'm forgetting. There's a split or something in between everything. There's a split between something between the 2 full lengths, and I haven't picked that one up yet. All right, so there you go. Rounded out my Dead Congregation collection, and now I just have one more to share with you, and then I'll be done with this video. And I finally picked up Choice Cuts by Carcass, and I realize this is kind of oh, there you go, kind of can see without the glare. I fucking love this cover. So I mean, this is like, you know, when you when you kind of grow up with punk and hardcore especially, but even metal to a certain extent, like best ofs aren't really a thing. It's like, you know, we just listen to the band's records, we don't need best ofs. But I mean, there are exceptions, obviously, like, you know, Minor Threat has the famous best of discography, and Bad Religion has All Ages, all this kind of stuff. But anyways, the you know, if it's just a best of, it's sort of like, why am I drawn to it? And this is a best of Carcass. I already have their other albums, but I just think it's like pretty damn cool. They just like, you know, reproduced it, you know, gave it a time. I mean, this was put out, this was years ago before they did, right after they did Swan Song, so they still hadn't had some of their other albums still. This is 2004 they put it out. But it's just like, I don't know, I already have like, I think all the Carcass records on vinyl, so I just thought like, why not get their best of that has a cool ass cover. You know, the vinyl itself isn't anything special, just black, but you know, they have all this stuff in here. You know, book sheet and everything. Everything is just like really well done. And then on top of that, what you have with this record, so it is a best of, but it's like, it's a double disc. Side A and Side B are the best of that cover the best of, and then there's Peel Sessions, like live recordings from 89 and 90, which is primarily the first two albums, Putrefaction and Symphonies of Sickness, and I like those albums. I mean, I even kind of love Symphonies of Sickness, but it's not my favorite era of Carcass, so, but it is like the early era, and so everything is sort of very like, you know, lo-fi and everything, and it's just like really cool to hear. I mean, you kind of don't get it for the tracks, but like just this is kind of crazy to see Bill Steer and Jeff Walker like doing this thing, you know, when they were so young. So that was cool to hear too. So you basically get kind of like four sides of it. In terms of the best of, you know, like I said, it goes up through Swan Song, so you're not going to get any like of their newer records in the last like decade and a half. But you know, they picked great ones off Heartwork, great ones off Necroticism. Necroticism was in my video, by the way, that I did. If you want to check it out, Essential Death Metal Records, it's like one of my favorite death metal records. And then they have a couple songs here from Putrefaction and a couple from Symphonies of Sickness. So just pretty cool way to get to know the band. I would not recommend like, oh, just if you've never heard of Carcass, go out and buy this. Probably listen to an album first, see if you like them, and then this is a little more of like a fan thing, especially with the live recordings. But it's a great band to get to know. They have multiple different eras. They kind of started out as gore grind, went into kind of classic death metal, then melodic death metal, and their newer sound is like even kind of all those things melded, but none of them particularly. So it's a really interesting band that changes a lot. I can't say enough about them, and that is why I picked this one up last week. So that is it. Let me know what you think. If you've listened to any of these albums or bands, comment below, and thanks for watching.